Hey everybody, and welcome back to the Illuminated Page here on Quiett Gentleman Entertainment. I'm Matt, your keeper. That's what I do. I keep the word that I can't remember later. I'm here with Roxy playing Jewell Rumtree. Ms. Jewell Rumtree. She didn't go to 4 years of Ms. school to be called Jewell Rumtree.
That's right.
And we've got Shawn playing Aaron Locksmith, Lockhart. I can't read. It's hard.
Hello, everybody.
And we've got David playing Professor Dalphus Hardgrove.
Hey guys.
The words are too small on the screen, Roxy. Can you make those a little bigger?
You mean you just don't remember our names by this point?
Honestly, I was playing earlier today, and I couldn't remember the word tiefling. Tiefling. It's one of the main races. I couldn't remember it. And then we've got
okay,
John
Mark,
playing.
I forgive you.
Mark.
Bobby.
Yes. I get it now. Jesus, that took way too long. And John playing Bobby Boom Boom Blackwood.
Hi guys.
And
Welcome to our
we are
quarantine edition.
Yeah, welcome to our quarantine edition.
Yeah,
where nobody's
apparently.
in the same room except John and Roxy because they got married, so they're allowed to have each other's germs.
Yep.
Yeah.
We are the customary 6 feet apart, even though that really doesn't mean anything.
That's cool. We are playing a game set in the 1920s. We are going to be using terms and sayings, mostly from me, that are appropriate to those times. That could get a little gross, but it won't come up too often. On top of that, this is a horror game, so keep that in mind. Not everybody's going to live through these next couple of episodes. I'm just warning you. Someone's going to die.
How dare you?
Well, I mean, I almost killed Dalphus. Poor Dalphus almost died.
You did. Well, and I had a psychotic break, so.
I got sucked into another dimension, and you just weren't ready to say bye to me yet.
Yeah.
I had a wimpy artist sucker punch me and critically wound me.
You guys are doing great.
Just because you think he was wimpy, Shawn, doesn't mean that he actually was. I mean, clearly.
So you guys are in Egypt. You have spoken with Faraz Najir, who helped set up the Carlisle expedition with some things when they were going to get with some artifacts, and then also have spoken with Warren Besart. I think I said it right that time. I did. Who was kind of their man on the ground and their local guide. You've been left with a bunch of information about Egypt. One of the pieces is that there's something in the Mosque of Ibn Tulun that the Brotherhood of the Black Pharaoh wants. You also now know where the Carlisle expedition went when they were in Egypt and when they disappeared. And you've been left with a very solid impression that a lot of the group is not dead. So,
yeah, and we also had... what is the other expedition?
The Clive expedition.
The Clive expedition, right. They've had some things stolen from them as well.
That's solid. And also, you're aware of a man named Omar Shakti, and he has a cotton plantation northwest of Cairo.
I'm gonna be honest. I had no idea that Egypt had cotton plantations.
Well, that's where we get Egyptian cotton.
I'm not saying that I shouldn't have known that. I'm just saying
didn't make that connection.
I just didn't make that connection. When I think of cotton plantations, I think of the American South.
Well, and I think also the idea of plantation there versus plantation here is probably different in that I associate plantations with a specific time and culture in America that does not exist anymore.
Yeah, there's an Egypt, Texas, so I always figured it was from there,
There's a Cairo, Illinois. I mean, it could have been from there.
There's Paris, Texas, too. I mean, Texas has all the countries in it.
Actually, not too far from where I grew up in Texas, there's a place called Honey, Egypt.
Is it deep in the heart of Texas? Yay.
Boo.
Okay. Well, I've done my job for the day. I'll see you guys all later.
That's
so,
it.
Did anybody actually clap the same amount? Anybody?
1, 2, 3.
Yeah,
I clapped 4.
Or
1, 2, 3.
It's 1, 2, 3, isn't it?
1, 2, 3, 4. No, it's 4. I had to clap it to figure it out. That's. Hey, so those are your leads. That's where we're at.
The stars are bright.
Oh, well, are the stars bright or are the stars right? Because
the stars are big and bright.
The stars at night are big and bright. Deep.
Right, but if the stars are right, then Cthulhu wakes up and eats us all.
Oh, true. That's so when we do the southern stream, that's what we're going to call it. The stars at night are aligned and right. Yeah.
So, what are you guys? What is the plan from the 4 of our investigators?
Yeah, I think we left it. We were trying to decide in what order we were going to go down the Nile and what locations we were going to visit.
Yeah, I drew a handy little map here.
All I know is I got bigger guns.
Yeah.
We did that.
Roxy, did you scan your map in as a handout?
I did not. It's not even a map. It is a text flowchart with corrective arrows. So it's like I have Cairo, Dashur, Memphis, Medan. I can't read my own handwriting. And I have written down El Wasta, which was a person, I believe.
It is actually a location.
It is a location?
You can find a person.
Wasn't El Wasta where Niti and her son Uban was, or Unba?
Ah, yes, Unba.
That is correct.
Yes, I have that written a few lines above.
Right, because Niti was the one that...
She's so needy.
Yeah, she's the one that sent Warren off
Besart,
to get his mind broken.
Oh, yeah. Or to get it unbroken, right?
Well,
no, she was the one that said, hey, if you go to this location, you're going to see what's going on, and he witnessed the horror.
Yeah, I don't think it was her intention to make him see the horror, just that that's what happened.
That's interesting. Yeah. She was like, hey, go over here and check this out. And he was like, sure. And then he was like, oh, this is bad. And she was like, oh, sorry, bro.
And now he needs the opium to unsee what he saw.
Yeah. Yep. So, what's the plan?
So, we are in Cairo, right?
That is correct.
And Omar Shakti is south.
Northwest.
Oh, is he northwest?
He's northwest and the other's south.
So we would have to go up the Cairo, up the Cairo.
Up the Nile.
Up the Nile first to go to his plantation, and then go down to get to the rest of the locations.
No, because the Nile flows.
Yeah,
that's
this is where it gets confusing.
Yeah, so we would have to go down the Nile.
We have to go up to go down.
Right, but whatever it is, he's not at the... We'd have to backtrack to go to him.
He's on the other side of Cairo from everything.
Yeah. So he would not be in the direction of everything else.
Let's go to the everything else.
Okay. So where is your first stop? If I remember correctly, and I don't know that Roxy had this pulled by chance, because I didn't tell you to do it at all. That's my fault. Page 82 has a map of Cairo. Did you pull that, Roxy, at all?
If it wasn't a handout, no,
that's fine.
Get it, but I don't have it.
So, that's perfectly understandable. El Wasta is the farthest south. Meadam.
It is Meadam. Okay.
Yeah, Meadam is the next north, then Memphis, then Giza, and then Giza, and then Cairo. South of Giza is Dashur.
Sure it is.
So basically, those are the places you were looking at.
Sure. Well, haven't we been to Dashur, or isn't that where we are?
No, you are currently still in Cairo. We never went anywhere outside of Cairo yet.
Okay.
All right, well, we went and talked to Warren. It was in the Red Scorpion Street in the bazaar.
Yeah.
Oh, Dashur is where the Bent Pyramid is it not?
The Bent and the Red Pyramid are both in Dashur.
Okay. That's what I have written down on my notes. So, I think, if my opinion is requested at this time. I think we should go as far in one direction and then do everything coming back up.
So Elwasta would be the first stop.
Yeah, so I would say let's go to Elwasta first, talk to Needy and Unba, and then head back up and swing by the Clive expedition on the way back. I don't know how long this kind of takes.
Yeah, I'm actually looking for that now because there's information on how long, but...
What was the name of the... Dalphus, what was the name of the person that you hired? He's kind of our man on the ground.
Yeah, I was looking for
His
that.
name is...
Starts with a Z, I think.
Our guide is Zaid Mustafa.
Mustafa, that's right. So I guess we could have him hire us a boat for the journey downriver.
Yeah, that should be fine.
Fantastic. It doesn't say. I thought there was information here. That's okay. Hold on.
Just wing it, GM.
Yeah, it's like a 3-day boat ride down to Elwasta. It is a long trip.
Okay.
Oh, wow.
Well then,
I'm sorry.
let's...
No, it's a 3-day car. It's a 3-day car drive. It is a day and a half by boat. Boat goes faster.
So we'd have to stay. Well, it's probably more straight. Also, well, do we want to stay somewhere along the way? I mean, are any of these places?
You will find small towns with inns, but they're going to be small towns with inns.
Yeah.
What's the issue?
Could we charter? Yeah, could we charter a boat that we can stay on overnight?
There are the boats that will be taking you that you don't have to charter will have staterooms for you to stay in.
Oh, okay.
Think of it similar to what you would expect on like a train.
Sure.
So
okay.
you'd have somewhat individual rooms. You wouldn't necessarily have to share if you didn't want to.
All of them.
And then if you chartered a boat of your own, it might go a little faster, but also keep in mind that that's pricey.
Sure. But if we can get a boat that we don't have to charter ourselves, if there's a boat that's already headed that way.
Yeah, there are boats that go that direction back and forth relatively regularly.
That's my suggestion.
Yeah, I agree. Let's hop a boat.
Okay.
Does anybody have any... I need to work better at not staring at my dice.
So we're just looking for a boat.
Well, we're just getting a boat. I mean, do you have any disagreements with going all the way to Elwasta first and then coming back up and stopping along the way?
No.
Or do we want to stop on the way down?
No, I'm perfectly fine with that.
I feel like Niti and Unba would have information that we could find useful.
Makes sense to me. No, I think it's a good idea.
Good. That's what I'd like to hear. Anybody else have any?
Nope.
Fantastic.
Okay, so you guys head up the river south to Elwasta. Elwasta is a small town, and Professor, having been in the outlying cities and towns like this away from Cairo, you know that the likelihood of finding someone that's going to speak English or French is relatively low. So Arabic is going to be a big part of what you need, which I think we have two of you that are fluent, so that helps. When you arrive, there is it's kind of in the middle of the day. There is a small market between a couple of buildings, but it's temporary little stands. And most of the town is made up of maybe 100 buildings or so of like little hovels and what you would, as Americans, would consider hovels and like smaller squatter buildings, most of which are made out of some sort of sandstone or sand-colored stone. You do see a couple of larger buildings. One would be a mosque, and it is made out of like almost a white stone. and then there is another like a town hall kind of meeting area that's also larger. And it's stone coloration matches the rest of the town. So what do you guys? So you know that Needy is here. Nieti, that's what it is. But where? But how are you gonna find her?
Did Besart give us any other information except of where she was? Did the physical description or anything like that?
Not really. He just said that he found her in Elwasta. And that she has a son named Unba.
Okay. This is more Roxanne asking. Do we have an idea of how old Unba is?
He's an adult for sure.
I mean, it's a small town. I mean, if we start asking around, I'm pretty sure we can locate.
I also don't want to get anybody into a whole lot of trouble either. Let's see. I mean, my thinking is a bunch of Americans come in and start asking about people. There's going to be...
Well, that's why we have Mustafa with us. He can maybe inquire a little more subtly than we can.
True.
Maybe. Gotta say, I mean, I know out where I live, a small community, you want to know where somebody is, or you want to you know find somebody quickly, you go ask the local pastor, you know.
You know, you're not wrong. Is there, what would be predominantly, well, you said there was a mosque, so we want to go to the mosque. Is that what you're suggesting?
Yeah, that's exactly what I'm suggesting.
Okay.
I think makes sense to me.
Works for me.
Okay, so you head to the mosque. Who is going in? Like, what is your plan here? Just to walk in and look for...
Is this the Mosque of Ibn Tulun?
No, that is definitely in...
Dashur?
That's in Cairo.
Okay.
Oh, okay. I would have said while we were on the boat, I would have again reiterated my thinking, and this can be disagreed with, but my thinking that at least Jewell is not going to let on that she is fluent in Arabic until she feels it's advantageous to do so.
I don't know what the local customs are. I don't know if people from not around here are supposed to go inside the building. Is there anyone outside?
There is not anybody outside. And, Professor, you would know that you can enter a mosque as long as you're respectful, even if you're not a practicer of their belief system. So.
Okay, cool. What about me as a woman?
In Egypt at the time, the only reason that the women cover their faces is for like weather reasons.
Okay.
Like, you can cover your face, but it's not expected.
Okay. I'm just making sure. Jewell would not want to be one of I mean, Jewell probably wouldn't really care, but I'm asking.
Yeah. So who's going in, and then I take it that the professor is leading the conversation?
Yeah, I'll go in, and if we need for Zaid to go in, I mean, I could go in with him, and we could look for someone that we needed to find to talk to us, and they could come out, and we could talk to them outside if we want to do that, if it's better.
So are you going to be speaking Arabic, Dalphus, or are you going to let Mustafa do the talking? I'm just wondering.
I'll go ahead and be speaking Arabic here.
I was gonna say the professor's pretty well known in these areas. So, I mean, I don't know if it would do any good to hide the fact that he can speak.
That's true.
But I'm going to, when we enter the mosque, I'm going to position myself close to the door and just kind of try and keep an eye on anybody coming in or trying to leave.
Okay. All right. So you enter. There is there's a man. What now?
Oh, I was going to say, getting back into what my character used to do, I'm going to start taking, as I arrive, I'm also taking photos.
Oh, sure.
And I believe Jewell is going to take in the architecture of the building. She will go in, but she's going to stay off to the side a bit and look as though she's just here with
Sure.
with the people asking questions, but has no real interest necessarily in it, and is mostly just listening to see if anybody takes note of their conversation.
Okay. Okay. So, Professor, you you approached one of the mosque attendants, and he bows slightly. He says, in Arabic, he says, "How may I assist you, sir?"
Did we determine that we knew how old Unga was?
He's an adult. He'd be in his
Okay.
early 20s.
Okay. Hello. Yes, thank you very much. I'm looking for someone, and I was wondering if you could help me find them.
I would be happy to assist you if you could let me know who you're looking for and for what reason.
Yes, a young man named Unga and his mother Nieti.
And what were you looking for these people for?
They are of mutual acquaintance, and we're asking them some questions about a friend of ours that was here a while back.
Can you roll persuade for me?
$16.
Jeez.
I don't know what my persuade is. I don't know if that's good enough or not. Oh yeah, a regular success, but yes.
Okay. He says, I am familiar with Nietzsche and her son. What questions, who are you looking into?
Okay, as a player, I don't know. I'm a little behind because I didn't get to review everything before coming into this, so I don't remember what it is we needed to ask them.
So basically, Warren Besart said that he came here and Nieti sent him into the desert to where he would see more things that would help him understand what was going on.
Right. It seems like she had insight into the Bent Pyramid and the Black Pharaoh and all of that stuff.
All right, well, I'll just say Warren Besart then.
I see. I'm not sure I'm familiar with that gentleman. You, Nieti is in no trouble?
Not that we're aware of.
No.
Okay. Yes, I can give you directions to her house, but I would ask that you prepare yourself for a very uncomfortable meeting. And you will understand what I mean when you see her.
Okay.
And he tells you where to go. Not a lot of houses, but he gives you the directions. Says as soon as you find them, when you arrive, I'm sure that Unba will be happy to talk with you and help you with Nieti as well.
Well, thank you for your help.
Okay. So, are you guys headed straight there?
I believe so.
Yeah, I don't have.
I will.
Yeah.
I'm going to let them leave first and continue to look around. Did anybody seem to take note when any names were mentioned?
No. No, it was really just the one guy in there, and he, from your look on him, there's some concern, but it's about you interacting with Nieti and Unba.
Okay.
So
I'll let them leave first, and then I'll wander out.
you walk for a few minutes, and you come to kind of a small, maybe 3-room house. When you knock on the door, a man opens it. His right arm and shoulder and the right side of his face have been gouged away. He's a very large man, probably 6'3", like a good 200 pounds. If he put on some muscle and weight, he'd be pretty imposing, but it looks like he's pretty thin, and whatever happened to his arm and his face have left him not sickly, but just not in great health. He said in a very slow and almost halting Arabic, he says, "How may I help you?"
Hello. Sorry to bother you. We were wondering if you could help, you and your mother may be able to help us with some information about someone and some directions that you had given.
I'm my mother, her time is very short. How may I help you with that?
Are you familiar with Warren Besart?
I believe that he was a man that came through here a few years ago. Yes.
Yes. We are looking to find out what information that he was given by your mother.
I don't know that she can give that information to you.
Why not?
I don't think she's able.
Okay.
What's going on, guys?
We'd she's a you're a young man, Unba, that's correct?
You're speaking in Arabic, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Yes.
You know, my name is Miss Jewell Rumtree. You know, it's easier to talk to somebody when you at least have their name. I know this seems kind of weird and out of the blue, but and I understand that you're likely protecting your mother, and that she may very well be unable to answer any questions that we might have. But if we could at least speak to her for a moment, and you know, and if she doesn't answer, she doesn't answer. The worst thing we could do is just, you know, she just doesn't answer and we leave. But
if you upset her, you will be requested to leave quickly.
I understand. I mean, unless
he doesn't wait for you to keep talking. He just kind of turns and motions for you to follow him.
Okay, and I would let you guys know that don't speak what.
Yeah, I was like, what's going on, guys?
Yeah. No, I mean, we may just try talking to Umba. I mean, he may know something. I would say this in English to someone. I don't know.
Are they gonna
and I
help
don't know
us?
if it's appropriate to ask. But
From what I understand, there may be a little more evident when we see her.
Okay.
So, are you guys following him? And I take it.
Yes.
yeah.
Okay. So you go into the hut. It is relatively small. It's not incredibly dark, but it is not as well lit as outside. In a chair, kind of rocking herself back and forth. It is not a rocking chair, but just kind of rocking herself back and forth. There is a woman. She looks extremely old. Her jaw and both of her hands are missing, as though they've been burned away.
Okay.
When she sees you, her eyes seem to focus where they weren't focused anymore, and it's almost like there's a light that connects in them. And she starts pointing with the stumps on her arms and gurgling in almost like an awful aggressive manner towards a corner of a hut of the hut. And Unba rushes over almost immediately and tries to calm her.
What is in the corner of the hut?
Looking over there are there are blankets and pots, but in a rush basket is I'm sorry. There is a rush basket with a painted red symbol. Can I get you to roll occult or archaeology, whichever one's better?
Yep.
Is that just David?
You can roll it too.
Hard success.
I also got a hard success.
Don't forget to mark these.
Yep.
Within the basket are 7. The basket has a glyph on the outside that is an Egyptian symbol of protection. Within the basket, there's a 7 by 9 inch slab of white stone, several inches thick. Its irregular edge makes it apparent that it was broken from a larger piece of worked stone. Can I get either archaeology or geology from the two of you?
Sure.
Another hard success.
Regular success for me.
Okay. The incisions are many centuries old, and that the limestone was used as a facing on. This type of limestone was used as a facing on many pyramids.
Okay.
It looks like. Can I get a spot hidden from any of the four of you?
Fail.
Ooh.
I-
Success.
Regular success.
Keeper, is it pertinent for me, or is it appropriate for me to ask if I should spend for an extreme success?
No, you don't
Okay.
need to spend.
Cool, I got a hard success.
So the two of you that got a hard success, you notice that the light kind of hitting it makes it look like it's maybe not white and maybe a different color, but you would have to take it out or you have to put it in brighter light to be able to see exactly what color.
And you said the inscriptions were like hundreds of years old.
The inscription on the basket is not hundreds of years old. It is relatively new, within the last decade or so.
Right, but did you say there
on
were
the stone itself? Yeah. You're of the opinion that it's more than hundreds of years old. It's probably more like thousands.
There's something about that piece. It's not. It looks white, but I think it's a different color. Maybe if we take it out.
Sorry. If I go to pick it up, does she get upset?
No.
Okay.
Can we take the whole basket? I don't know if I necessarily want to take it out of the basket in here.
I think, can we take this?
Unbud looks at her and she stands and kind of hobbles over to you, and with her stumps pushes the stone that's already in your hand kind of at you, like she wants
take it and get away.
To go. Yeah.
I think you got your answer.
All right. Well, we do appreciate this, Miss Yeti, and we are sorry to have bothered you, and hope that our taking this is a sign of our goodwill towards you.
Her eyes seem to unfocus almost immediately as soon as you say we appreciate this. You hear what sounds like a big sigh, but it rattles a lot given the way her mouth is, and she kind of just slumps down into a sitting position and seems almost lifeless.
We appreciate your time, but we will take our leave now.
Thank you.
And as I'm sure he's like kind of escorting us out.
No, he's sitting with his mother, trying to figure out what to do with her.
Okay.
So
I'm going to pull out some money and just hand it to him and say, I'm sorry that if we caused you any trouble. I hope this will help you in your situation.
He shakes he nods his head, but doesn't seem to look up.
You speak English?
He doesn't seem to react.
I walk over and I motion towards the woman, and then I point towards the chair. Like,
put her in the chair?
I'm basically offering to help him move his mother to the chair.
He accepts your assistance, and the two of you gently move her over there. John, have you ever tried to help a person who is old and their bodies are starting to give out, where it's just like you touch them and it's just bone underneath them. There's no muscle anymore. Every bit of her is like that. She doesn't. If Unba is in his 20s, even if she had him late, she can't be much more than maybe 60, 65 maybe. But she looks like she's about 110.
While they're moving Nieti into the chair, I'm going to whisper to Jewell, before we leave, can you ask him where they got this from?
My apologies, Unba. Once he's got his Nieti settled, do you remember when you came into possession of this particular item, and where it originated?
I was not aware that my mother had this.
You don't remember this basket with this protection glyph on it
I-
showing up at any point?
I haven't really messed with any of her things in that corner in a very long time. They
Okay.
are hers to deal with, not mine.
Okay. Well, thank you again. Sorry, I mean at this time we'll get out of your hair.
As you guys walk outside, Professor, you've got the stone.
Yeah, and the basket too, if I was able. Yeah.
Yeah. As you get outside, the stone itself becomes very clearly a pink color, like almost like a light, like kind of hazy pink.
Okay.
Can you roll, the two of you roll archaeology for me?
Okay.
What a lovely dusky rose.
Another. Oh no, actually that one.
I rolled 7 under 78.
Nice.
All right, fancy.
What can
Yeah,
I
that's
say?
an exceptional for me.
Okay, so this coloring. The only place that any pyramid has this coloring is the Red Pyramid.
Okay.
The Red Pyramid is unique in that it is the only pyramid that was built with this coloring of limestone. And since this is clearly from a pyramid, this is a facing like brick or stone,
Right.
it has to be from there. There's nowhere else it could have been from.
Okay.
So the facing stone, so like from the very top,
It would have been
capstone,
it would have been the outsides of the capstone.
Okay.
All right. Very interesting. Well, let's just go ahead and wrap this up and put it in a basket. Put it in the basket. I don't know if right now is the time to try to decipher this. We'll have a long boat ride back.
Was there any writing on it? I didn't get a good look at it, you guys, before you tucked it away. Was there any writing on it, or?
Roxy, can you put up number 33?
Sure.
But keep in mind, guys, you're not getting all of this information. So that's something to keep in mind. Like you're going to get to see it, but it won't be quite right. So you're only seeing the right-hand side of this.
Okay, 33
so it is
is
broken in an uneven way. So you're essentially getting what looks like kind of like an inverted ankh. Oh, I'm sorry. You haven't put that up there. That's correct. Yeah.
There's
that
just
one.
this one? Okay.
Yeah, I'm sorry. You guys haven't transitioned it over yet.
No, that's all right. I
so
just
you're-
wanted to make sure that I was looking at the
so
right thing.
you're getting kind of the inverted ankh on the right-hand side, the kind of like teardrop-shaped area.
Right.
But anything that is kind of, it's not all there.
So we have a symbol, but there's no words, no hieroglyphs, anything like that.
No
Gotcha.
hieroglyphs, and you can't even really tell what the full symbol is because
Okay,
you don't
so
know
we
what
don't
that
even
side
see
looks
the
like.
eye
So
or
we don't
anything like
see
that.
the eye part.
Yeah, that's correct.
Would I be able to make a roll to try to get some meaning off of it?
You would have, because it's incomplete, you're going to need to take it to someone either that has a library or that has more knowledge that would help you out. Essentially, you might need to go to the museum in Cairo because they're as good at it, but they're also steeped in it more than you are because they live here. So they're going to be able to help you out a little bit more than just the knowledge you have yourself.
Okay.
It's very. Yeah.
So, yeah, that's El Wasta. Like you can
Okay.
stick around and such, but like there's really nothing else there.
No, I mean that's all we came here for. So, do we need to get a different boat, or is that boat perhaps?
Yeah, you can catch another boat.
Can we catch-
the next place up is Medium. Medium was where they were digging, and then farther north than that is Dashur, and that's where they disappeared. And you know that the Clive expedition is north of that at the ruins of Memphis.
Sure. Okay, so the Carlyles were digging at Meadham.
Yes, but they didn't seem to find anything of note. Whatever happened at Dashur.
Okay.
Right. So I mean, we might want to stop and talk to the other expedition because they've had things go
well,
away.
they're
and
they're
I'm curious
farther
to know
north. They're past Dashur, which is where the Red Pyramid and the Bent Pyramid are.
That's correct.
Okay.
So we would probably, if we wanted to, unless we want to hold off investigating the pyramids themselves for another time.
Well, it's just I don't think we have enough information to go
Well,
to the pyramids. I mean, we have a
don't know if
broken capstone, and we know that people went, crazy there.
I mean,
I'm personally of the opinion that we wouldn't be in as much danger going and talking to this other expedition.
well, that's kind of how I felt, and also Dalphus, if we need somebody that might be a little bit more. I mean, I don't want to. I'm not trying to. I don't doubt your skills with any of this, but maybe they've seen something, or know of another part of this particular relic that we're handling currently, or might have another
in fact.
perspective on it.
Indeed, yes.
All right. And it's Henry Clive. What is the Clive? Yeah.
I think Henry Clive is
Henry
correct.
Clive. Yep, that's what I've got written here. Okay, cool.
Is this Maydum where we're going?
No, it's Meidum. Meedum.
I wonder if that has changed over time or something in the book. I'm just looking at the map. Sorry, just trying to keep track.
It is Dr. Henry Clive.
The Meidum Pyramid. There we go.
Yeah, so you're looking at Meedum. If you want to look for Meedum, it's where the collapsed pyramid is.
Okay.
So that gives you an idea of where that's at if you're looking. So you guys are headed to Dashur, or where are you guys headed?
I think we are headed to Memphis.
Okay.
That's
where the Clive expedition is.
Yeah.
We're going to pass
Yeah.
Meedum, we're going to pass Dashur, and we're going to head to Memphis and talk to the Clive expedition.
You're going to be walking through Memphis?
Yeah.
No.
My feet 10 feet off of Beale.
Yeah. That sounds like Eldritch powers there.
Yeah. I was gonna try to figure out how to portmanteau Cher and Eldritch, and it just wasn't. I could tell that it wasn't gonna go in a good direction, so I stopped.
So when we go talk to Henry Clive, let's be a little careful talking about the Penny Foundation. They are being financed by them. We don't know if they're in their pocket or not.
Well, yeah, and
it's going to be interesting.
well, and maybe three of us. I mean, he knows Dalphus, but maybe the other three of us should shh a little bit and not, or at least not give our names.
Agree.
So you guys are headed to the Memphis. The site at Memphis is a distance from the river. It's not terribly far, but you have to get a car to go about that far. It is impressively well guarded. You see lots of Egyptians with guns around the dig, but given that they were just robbed,
Sure, yeah.
Short, and if it had minefields and a machine gun, it would feel exactly like a base in World War I for the two of you that served. That's how thick this is with people guarding it.
Well, they take their security seriously.
Yeah.
I wonder what got stolen.
A body.
That's one of the things we
mummy,
need to know.
A mummy.
As you approach and go past the
right? Isn't that what gets stolen?
When you approach to the vehicle, one of the guards stops you. And who's driving?
I am.
Okay. He says in Arabic. He says, "How can I help you? What's the reason for your visit today?" And he's looking at you, Aaron, and he says it in Arabic.
I'm gonna like wave and look at the professor.
He wants to know what our business is.
Yeah.
We're here to talk to Dr. Henry Clive.
He looks back at the professor because he doesn't understand a single bit of English.
That isn't anything. My name is Dr. Professor Hardgrove. I'm here to speak with a colleague, Dr. Henry.
Is Dr. Henry expecting you?
No, he's not.
Dr. Henry.
Okay.
I am Dr. Professor.
He whistles and motions, and one of the other guards comes up. And you guys have like an older car that has kind of a running board. He steps up on the running board and grabs hold of the side of the car and like taps on the window and motions for you to go forward.
I'm going to try not to hit potholes and knock him off.
The road out here is dirt, but it is pretty solid.
Okay, good.
Not a lot of rain or ice, so there's not a lot of like breaking up. So yeah, you guys go into the camp. There's lots of tents. You get in a little bit, and it gets a little too thick to drive. And the guard kind of taps on the glass again and motions for you to stop. And then he hops down and just kind of stands there and waits for you. He is carrying a rifle. He's in appropriate military style gear, and has at least like a nice sized combat knife on his ankle, and is carrying a sidearm as well.
Wow.
As the four of you kind of get out, he turns to the professor. He says, "Dr. Hardgrove, the doctor is in. It should be in his tent soon. I will have you wait there if you don't mind."
Thank you. And I tell the others we need to go wait over here for him.
So he takes you into the tent. There's a small table to sit around. It's got some maps on it. It's got some notes jotted down, and some half-empty teacups, as though they've been drunk a little bit and then left. There are 6 or 7 chairs, but they don't all fit around the table. There's just not enough room on that table for that many chairs around it.
There's not by chance that random white dress hanging up somewhere?
No.
Okay, good.
No.
Just making sure.
I was going to ask, I'm more saying, I mean, this is either safest place we could be or the most dangerous place we could be right now.
Yeah, I don't think we're going to make any fast escapes if things go sideways.
I'm starting to get the impression that most of the places we're going to end up are going to be the most dangerous places we could be.
Yeah.
You guys are all speaking in English, I take it?
Yes.
Okay. You're there for maybe 10 minutes. And the flap to the tent pulls back again, which changes the brightness in the room. It's very clear that it's dark in here now that you've been in here a little bit. And a man with a kind of a thin mustache comes in, and he's carrying a cigarette in a cigarette holder and smoking. And behind him comes in a young man as well, who is armed but doesn't have any of his weapons drawn. The gray-haired man walks up to the professor and says, "I am Dr. Henry Clive. It's a pleasure to meet you, Dr. Hardgrove. Thank you."
Likewise, Dr. Clive.
How can I help you? He kind of motions for you all to sit, and he sits down, and then the other man sits down kind of next to him but behind him in a very subservient manner.
Well, I have to admit to a small amount of professional curiosity for part of why we're here. Very interested in your work here and your finds and what's going on. Of course, if I could offer any assistance while I'm here, I'd love to. And then we have some few questions about some things we were working on our own, following up with a colleague.
Sure. I'm happy to answer any questions I can. Of course, I'd like to keep my dig site as my dig site, so I hope that you'll forgive if I'm a little guarded on a couple of our answers before we get too deep into this.
Sure.
But also, we've had some concerning security threats of late, and while I know that you are not the kind of man to cause that kind of issue, I'm concerned that we would lose anything else that we have found here.
So what is it?
I understand.
What now?
Oh, no, go ahead. Sorry.
So yeah, what kind of questions do you have? I'd be happy to answer whatever you've got.
So, Professor Clive, my name is Aaron Lockhart. We had heard that you recently had some artifacts stolen from your dig site?
Yes, very unfortunate. There were some items that were stolen, some scrolls and some jars, things that would have really helped us understand what was going on here when those were buried. We had partially cataloged them, but hadn't gotten too deep into it. And frankly, it's a great loss for our dig.
How long ago did that happen, if you don't mind me asking?
Oh man, I want to make sure. If I contradict this with what I told you guys last time, that's not on purpose.
That's right.
But
I
I'm just
forgot
letting
we
you.
might have-
No. It's a perfectly valid question. I just don't want you to think he's being cagey about that answer. It has been a couple of weeks ago that happened.
And have there been any leads, or have you heard of? Do you have anybody actively looking into these stolen artifacts?
Unfortunately, I had to report my problem to the British military, and they do not. Is not at the top of their priority list.
Okay.
And forgive me, allow me to introduce you to my associates, Clive. This is Ms. Jewell Rumtree. She works at Miskatonic with me. She is a curator, librarian extraordinaire.
Charmed.
She's quite knowledgeable of the artifacts that we'll be seeing as well. And other associates from the States here, Mr. Aaron Lockhart that you just met, and Mr. Blackwood, who's accompanying us as well as a photographer.
Excellent. It's a pleasure to meet all of you. What other questions can I answer about the dig?
Did you bring the? This is out of character. Out of character. Did you bring the tablet with us, Dalphus or David?
I would have wrapped it up in something so that it was not exposed, and then I would have given the time. I would have checked to see what you guys think, but I didn't want to bring the whole basket in here, so I'd have just put it in my bag.
Yep, nope, that would have been fine.
But if anybody was like, "Oh no, we need to leave it in the basket" or whatever, I would have.
No, I just didn't want to. I didn't want to take it out of the basket necessarily in there with her.
I'm gonna.
Sorry. Nope, that was my only concern.
I'm gonna follow up. I'm gonna ask this carefully, but so Professor Clive, you said that it was just some scrolls and jars stolen, but we had read in the newspaper that you had a mummy stolen as well from your dig.
It's my belief. I'm sorry. If Matt said that was a mistake.
Okay.
That's not him being. He's not being cagey with that particular answer.
Okay, never mind.
So if I said that earlier, then yes, he did actually repeat that back.
Oh, so there was a mummy as well. Okay.
Yes.
Cool.
Okay, cool.
Yeah, I'm trying to look over some notes here real quick.
Yeah, the thing that I had seen was I remembered.
Yeah,
it was
you're right.
Mummy.
It was the mummy, a sarcophagus, scrolls, and jars.
Yeah,
yep.
I had.
Sorry.
No, that's fine. That's fine.
Yeah, I'm like, I don't want to ask a question that's going to get us killed.
Yeah. No, cool.
I don't mind.
We know you don't mind.
All right, so this the mummy that was stolen by the Brotherhood came from here, right? That's what we're.
Well, we don't know that the Brotherhood stole it, do we?
No, that's our theory.
I mean, come on.
If a duck quacks.
Why do you think somebody might be interested in that particular mummy? Do you think it was just I mean, it doesn't sound like a random act of theft.
No, it really doesn't. You're right. I don't know. Given the marvelous funerary trappings in the place in the room that we found the mummy, I believe that it was an Egyptian queen, and must have been quite powerful and quite a good ruler. But I had prepared to remove the mummy and the sarcophagus with the Egyptian authorities, but we hadn't started yet, and it probably would have taken us several days. The sarcophagus itself weighed several tons, but in the time of one night, they were taken. Unfortunately, the two Egyptian police guards that were on duty have gone missing and have not been found.
Interesting. So the sarcophagus and everything was taken.
Yes, the sarcophagus, the mummy, and then its funerary trapments that you would expect as laid out for the gods.
Sure. Any strange markings or tracks or anything left behind that might?
Oddly, the dust in the corridors was undisturbed except by some unidentified footprints, and I believe those were us, not whoever stole it. and there were no signs of any roller marks or wear at the inclines or the elevations along the corridor where winches would have needed to be used. It truly is a very it's an inexplicable event that has happened.
It truly boggles the mind. I mean, if I were not a woman of history and science, I would say that it almost sounds. I mean,
magical.
It's magical or superstitious or something. I mean, it's just.
Yeah. I mean, the many strange things have happened at digs, but I don't believe anything magical has actually happened.
Well, yeah.
Out of curiosity, pardon my interruption. What did you got to look at this stuff though before it was taken? Of course.
Some, not a lot. We found it and then immediately contacted the authorities to request the chance to remove it so that we could further study it.
And just because it's not really my specialty, but what dynasty did you think that this mummy was from?
Oh, that's a good question. Why did you have to ask that question?
Because it's something that's come up several times before about dynasties and weird junk.
Yeah, I was trying to see if we had that information already.
No, we just had that a mummy was stolen. We don't actually have like the possible dynasty or
no. I have
age
the dynastic information for the stuff that Carlisle wanted from Besart.
Tell me what that says.
The stuff that Carlisle wanted from Besart.
Oh wait, no, not that. Never mind. Sorry.
Yeah, but I do have something about Shakti in the 12th dynasty scribbled.
Oh, wasn't that? That was something that the objects they found were from the 12th dynasty and shouldn't have been.
That was the stuff that Carlisle wanted.
Yep. The reign of the Black Pharaoh.
Yeah,
was ended by Snifferus, which was the first pharaoh of the 4th dynasty.
Yeah.
So this, thank you. This would have been what I'm guessing is from shortly before the 4th dynasty.
Before?
I don't believe it was part of the 3rd dynasty. I believe there's a gap there that we haven't fully explained or explored, and I believe this might have been a chance to really get into that, which may, in fact, shift the dynasties. While it's a much shorter time period, it could shift our understanding to an unnamed dynasty, essentially not being numbered by the Egyptians, and now we lost that information.
So something from before the reign of Snifferu.
Yes, I believe so.
Interesting. That is fascinating.
No, and I'm sorry. I hope I'm not interrupting. I know. I'm just very curious. So 4th dynasty. I'm sorry. Are we your first guests out here that are Westerners? Have you had any other people come by interested in the dig site?
I mean, we have occasional check-ins from our representative in Cairo concerning the Carlisle expedition. The Penhew Foundation. Cheese and rice.
Oh, who's your representative with that?
Well, it was a gentleman within the British Embassy. That may have changed recently. I'm not quite sure. I haven't heard from them. Normally they check in once or twice a week, and I haven't heard anything in a while.
Oh, I'm truly sorry to hear that. But no, I just wonder if you knew the guy's name, because if we go back through Cairo, we could always say something to him for you or something.
Yeah, he's one of the diplomats at the British Embassy. He gives you a name.
Okay, nothing we recognize.
Nothing super important.
But interesting that he hasn't heard from them in a couple of weeks.
No, all right.
It's not paid anymore.
Yeah. Other than that, I gotta say the security outside's pretty amazing. Has it always been like that?
No, we felt that obviously 2 guards were not enough to protect what we had, and some of my workers were concerned about 2 Egyptian police just going missing. So we pulled more security and hired more people. As he says he hired more people, the flap opens again, and a man comes in, an Egyptian man comes in and sets down on top of everything else a tray with 6 teacups and a large what do you call that? Tea kettle. There, that's the word. Teapot. And he says, can I offer you tea? The mint tea here isn't as good as it could be if it were, fresh, but I think you'll find it refreshing.
That'd be lovely, thank you.
I hate to say it. I kind of stare at this guy coming in.
So actually that's a good point. When you look at him, his eyes are dead, like sullen, no emotion. He doesn't make a noise. You can hear him walking, but he's not breathing heavy. There's nothing coming out of him.
Local?
He looks like it, yeah.
He's not breathing?
He's breathing, but
okay.
You can see his chest moving, but there is no sound coming from this man other than his footfalls.
So he says nothing.
Okay.
He doesn't say a word.
How's he dressed?
In appropriate gear or appropriate clothing for a servant, like a kitchen servant.
Okay.
All right. I am looking to see if I see a leather thong on his neck.
No.
All right.
He pours 6 teas, hands one to Clive, and then turns and leaves. And Clive immediately blows a little bit, but then takes a sip.
I'm going to take a cup, but I'm not going to start drinking it.
Yeah.
Sure.
Yeah, I will too, but I have a question for you as well.
I put it to my lips, and that's about it.
Yeah.
The items I've got written down here: the timbre drum, the zircon crown, the scroll, and the bust.
Mm-hmm.
Those
And
were
an
all
ancient
things
scroll.
that were.
Those were Roger Carlyle that he got from Faraz
There you
Najir
Yep.
via Warren Besart. Those were the items that he had requested.
Yeah.
Those are the items that he. Did we see these items?
No, those are the ones that
No.
Carlyle got
5 years ago.
5 years ago from Faraz Najir. We never saw them. We just had he told us of the items that he had gotten for Warren Besart on behalf of Roger Carlyle.
Okay, so we wouldn't know what they look like or anything like that. Then. Okay.
When you, as you're sitting there, the young man kind of sitting there, leans forward and gets his teacup, and looks over at the professor and says, in a very thick British accent, says, "Professor, when was your last dig?"
I was here last with the Carter expedition.
It has been some time. Where was the university planning to send you again?
Not at this moment. We have some things we're investigating. I'm trying to put together a proposal in order to start a new expedition, possibly.
And where do you think you'll be digging when that happens?
A little further south of here.
Jewell Rumtree is picking up on that heavy shade, and she is giving him a dark look.
Well, all 4 of you need to roll psychology.
I did not make it.
I didn't make it.
None of us are psychologists.
That's fine.
No, but that is regular success.
Nice.
Nice.
Hardgrove?
Hang on, looking. That is a 45, and I'm right on the money, 45. So does that get us?
Yeah,
have to get under
that's
it,
a
or-
success. So the two of you that failed, know that you hate him. It's very clear that you hate him.
Yeah.
The 2 of you that succeeded know you hate him because he's a sadistic brute. He is swinging his stick as heavy as possible. And
Who is this?
he has not been introduced. This is the young kid that's sitting there. He turns to Dr.
Gotcha.
Clive and he says, "I don't believe that we should be assisting Mr. Hardgrove any further. Clearly, his interests lie in our research as well, and he wishes to swoop in with the Americans and steal our hard-earned research.
Quite the contrary. I think our interests may be aligned, which is why I'm here, and I figured we could offer professional courtesy and help each other out.
And in proper British fashion, he goes,
Tough.
And with that, I'm going to look at him because he's rubbed me the wrong way. I was like, listen here, you little snot. You don't know the first thing that we're interested in.
And if you did, you'd shut the hell up, son.
Does Jewell tell him to shut up? Really?
I say if you did, you'd shut the hell up. Yeah.
He sets his tea down and turns to the doctor and he says, I'll get the security to remove them. And just turns and walks. And Dr. Clive kind of sits there like, what are you going to do? Like,
Exactly. Who is that man?
And was he in charge?
Yeah, I thought this was
probably the financier of the organization, and you just had us blackballed here.
He is actually the head of my security and has been thrust upon me by the Penhew Foundation. I didn't have a lot. His name is Martin Winfield, and he is supposedly very concerned about our research. I know that he was exceptionally upset when things disappeared, and I know that perhaps his
because his name was probably
is
on
a
the
reflection
line.
of that.
His name was probably on the line if things were stolen under his watch, and I appreciate the stress that I'm sure he's under, but his behavior is he can insult my country as much as he wants, but I will not be a party to it for very long. Dalphus.
Dr. Hardgrove, will you be in Cairo for a week or so or more?
I imagine so.
The digging here has not produced anything else as of yet. As long as today and tomorrow don't produce anything, I'd be happy to maybe meet you for dinner in Cairo, let's say in 3 days. And then we can go over any other questions you have. We get out of Mr. Winfield's hair, and that way he doesn't feel like you're breathing down our necks. He also, I don't think, is aware of your reputation or your skills. So I apologize. I know that this is not how I would want things handled, but this is how Mr. Winfield does things.
Until he gets back, I would lean over and I would whisper to Dalphus to show him the tablet while that guy was gone.
Well,
I mean, you don't have to, but that's what Jewell says, very quietly.
I just kind of look back at you and I nod a bit and said, well, Dr. Clive, we have something you might be interested in. I'm not inclined to share with Mr. Winfield at the moment, but we can discuss this further when we meet later. But just to show you what we are looking at right now, and I'll pull it out and I'll unwrap it a bit and show it to him.
I need all four of you to give me a psychology roll.
Fail.
No,
I got that one.
Nope.
Yeah,
Just
that's
a regular success, but I got it.
That's a 2 under 20, so that's an extreme
wow.
success.
Yeah, so Rumtree, you see recognition, and then you see deception slide over it in his eyes. Oh, this is very interesting. What is this? It looks like maybe part of a capstone?
Once I saw that, I'd then cover the tablet back up with whatever wrappings are in Dalphus's hands.
Yeah, I didn't even leave it open very long. Just wrap it back up.
Yeah,
put it in
and it's like, well, we'll talk about that later.
Of course. We'll say Cafe Cairo, which you know is a nicer restaurant, real near the embassy. Cafe Cairo, 8 p.m., 3 days from now.
Sounds
wonderful.
good.
Good. You can wait for Mr. Winfield.
No, we'll leave.
But
we'll leave on our own.
It may be easier.
The last time somebody tried to forcefully move me anywhere, it didn't go very well. So let's just take our leave.
He pushes open the flap and offers you to go out. shakes all of your hands if you let him, and seems earnest enough.
Yeah.
He says, "Yeah, I look forward to speaking with you, Dr. Hardgrove, and I will see you in just a few days."
So once we get in the car and start driving away, I'm going to be like to the group going, well, I can imagine poor little Martin Winfield in there is not far up in the Penhue organization, so I'm pretty sure he's terrified for the things that got stolen.
Or look, I didn't say anything in there, but that man, yeah, he's a jerk and he's a bad person, but I'm going to tell you this much, he's also, everything tells me that he's a sadist, and the moment I started getting that with the Penhue Foundation, alarms are going off in my head.
Yeah,
I wonder if he knows that that little lunch ticket of his has been closed down, though.
Oh, I'm sure he does. That's
Yeah.
probably another reason why he was treating us with such disdain.
I don't know if he knows that part of it, but I will not doubt even the slightest bit that that man is going to be a part of that group.
Yeah, we better watch our back. Then.
As we travel back, when I'm sure that we're in a secure area, I am going to suggest that we get some word to Dr. Clive, whether a note is waiting at the meeting place that we have changed the meeting location.
Why do you want to change the meeting, Miss
I
Rumtree?
do not trust him. I saw him. He knows what we have. And
so he recognized it when you showed it to him?
he recognized it, and just indulge my paranoia this once.
I have no
When we get
problem in
back to
doing that.
Cairo, we should scout the location out, and if we're concerned at all about it, we'll look for a new location.
We'll look for a new location, and then we'll, change it kind of last minute. So if he has anyone lying in wait the day of, they would have to recalibrate, and hopefully maybe not.
And Matt, you said the Cafe Cairo was kind of an upscale place.
Yeah, it's where you would expect someone who's being paid to go dig, meet with other people who might also fund that, or might have friends that are going to fund that.
Yeah, because we have not had bad luck in highfalutin places where.
Well, and this is going to be a quality place. So like, dudes coming in guns blazing, the cops are going to be there instantaneously.
Correct.
Yeah, we're right by the embassy.
And also, Bobby holds himself as though he has money, and any good archaeologist can smell that. Like, there's a potential investor with the doctor, with Hardgrove.
Right.
So, not that he's going to try and steal his investor, but, what if Mr. Blackwood wants to invest in something else later? Like, that's the kind of, that would be what you would expect. So.
And Dalphus, you're so worried I got rid of some sort of financier who's going to blackball us. We have Bobby. Bobby could pretend to be a financier.
No, I mean getting shut out of the site.
Oh, well, I'm not.
But I mean, basically what Clive said, I mean, the dig has dried up. I don't think there's anything else there that we need to worry about. Everything that we would have wanted to see is gone.
I was really hoping to get a chance to look at the chamber where they found it.
Well, maybe talking to him will allow us to go back.
Especially if they've determined nothing else is going to happen there. Maybe there won't be as much armed guards there after
I may have
3
to
days.
make a trade.
Maybe, but I'm just saying. I think that Winfield.
Yep.
I like totally. I really believe that guy is going to be a part of the cult.
Nobody's arguing with you, Bobby.
I just think getting out of there, especially a guy that's controlling that many armed guards.
Sure.
Yeah.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
I think we should assume that he is a cultist. Even if he's not, we should just work under that assumption.
Yeah, and if Cairo hasn't been dangerous enough for us, now we got to start looking over our back because we do probably know a known cultist.
Anybody coming out of the Penhue Foundation, we should assume, is a problem.
Yeah.
Should we assume that about Clive as well, since he was being funded by them?
I don't think so immediately, because...
So he's just greedy.
I would be suspicious, but not think that he is a member.
Not make any assumptions, because anybody knows, if you want, the old saying, work smart, not hard. So if Mr. Penhue could get people to do the digs for him, and then he just reaped the benefits of finding the artifacts that support his religious beliefs, then that, he doesn't have to necessarily make them part of the cult to just find things.
Yep, I agree.
Yeah. Yeah.
So we're not hightailing it out or going anywhere else. We're going to try and meet with him in 3 days. You're just going to
We're just
a different
going to
location?
suggest a different location, not Cafe Cairo. That's
Okay.
that's Miss Rumtree's suggestion, but she will go along with whatever. She just is concerned, and she does express to you all very clearly, he knew exactly what we showed him before he really, in just the little bit that Dalphus showed him, he knew what it was, and he
You saw that as well.
Yeah, and he
I
immediately
noticed that, yes.
he immediately tried to hide that he recognized it.
So let's leverage, I'm going to say it wrong, Mustafa?
Yeah, that's fine.
Let's leverage him and see if he can find us a safer location with people that he would trust to kind of possibly offset the danger.
But maybe also of the same caliber.
True.
Yeah, and I would like to go to the museum and see if we can find anything else about this tablet before that meeting. I'd like to know a little bit more about what I've got in my hands before we meet with him.
Sure.
That's not a bad idea either.
Are you going to keep it with you the entire time, or are we going to lock it somewhere?
Well, I imagine I may have to take it to the museum to help get it identified.
Well, we could create a rubbing of it so we could leave the capstone somewhere safe, and you could take or Bobby can take a picture of it, and we can get that developed, and you can take that in rather than
The actual
carting the
thing.
stone around all the time.
And then that would not draw attention to us as having it in our
Right.
possession.
Yeah, we're not looking around a weird basket everywhere.
Well, not even the basket, but the tablet itself. If someone sees that we have it, they'll be, they might question how we came into possession of it.
Plus, it's really hot out there, and it's heavy.
It's not that big.
So you drive the car back to the boat. Where are you guys headed from there?
Well,
Back to Cairo.
Back down the Nile, up further south towards Cairo. Or
yeah, I think
north
we're
towards
just going to
Cairo.
go to Cairo.
We're going to Cairo? Okay,
Yeah.
fantastic.
Well, let's see. We're in, Memphis?
Yeah.
We're going to go wherever.
Dashur is south.
So
It's behind us.
Cairo is the only other place, really, other than Omar Shakti.
I would not do either of those things right now, personally.
did we need to go to the Sphinx for any reason? Because that's here.
I mean, we can
not
go take a
unless we just
picture.
want to go look at it. I mean, you've been here before,
I've never been
Dolphus.
to
You're
Egypt
like,
before.
oh, it's all
I'm
high.
fine seeing the Sphinx.
Yeah, do we want to
I
just
mean, I'm
take a
sure
little
I
day
would be like,
journey?
oh my god, you guys need to see this, and you need to see this while we're here. And
I mean,
So
I'm
do you want to do a little bit of sightseeing on the way back to Cairo?
sure.
Yeah.
yeah,
So yeah, you spend some time seeing the Sphinx and some pyramids because they're all kind of right there.
I'm watching for anybody that's following us.
Sure. Bobby, you
was
get a bunch of good pictures. What now?
what was in Dashur?
That sure is where
Dashur is the bent and the red.
Yep, and where the
Nothing else
Carlyles.
that we needed to go to for information right now, though, right?
No.
No.
Hypothetically, no.
We want to get more information on the capstone before we go check out the Red Pyramid.
Did we need to go to Giza for something?
No.
Nope, not unless we just want to sightsee since we're here.
Okay, so all right. Yeah.
Okay. So you see some sights. Bobby takes some pictures. Nobody seems to be following you guys. It takes a little more than a day to get back to Cairo. And once you're in Cairo, it's kind of business as usual. Like there's people moving around. You set up an appointment to meet with the curator at the museum, and he is happy to do that.
So Bobby can get a picture and get that developed to take.
Yeah.
I kind
And
of.
I would
think
make a couple of rubbings.
I would have also. Well, do you want to do the rubbings, or just take the picture because we could plausibly deny that we actually have it in our possession if it's just a photograph?
Well, I mean, same with the rubbing. I mean, we could have taken a rubbing elsewhere and brought it with us.
Sure.
And I would make rubbings anyway, even if we weren't going to give it to anybody.
Okay. Okay. I
But the
would.
pictures we can take, like several. We can get like thickness and angles and size and all that kind of stuff.
I would have asked Bobby when we were sightseeing, and anytime you're taking pictures, to grab a couple like oops shots of just the crowds around wherever we go.
I've been trying to watch for people.
Okay.
Yeah, no, I understand.
Because because Jewell will sit and stare at pictures of faces and try to remember as much as she can, just because she doesn't trust anybody right now, and her stress level is high. Plus, it's hot, and she hates hot.
Okay. So you guys are headed to the museum, right?
Yep. Hey, Matt.
Okay.
Did you
Yes.
want to take a break tonight, or are we playing straight through?
Let's give it 10 more minutes and then we'll take a break.
That's fine. Just wanted to ask.
Okay.
Yeah, no. Actually, no, this is a great place to take a break because like we're right here.
Okay.
Roxy, you want to throw up a thing? We'll be back in just a few minutes and continue on in Egypt.
See everybody in a minute.
Guys.
All right.
Yep.
See y'all soon.
All right, guys.
Hey, everybody, back.
Blah blah.
The cultists have arrived.
Oh no.
Okay. All right, Roxy, transition us back, and then I'm gonna come back. No, I'm kidding. Hey, guys, welcome back to Illuminated Page. I don't know what we're playing anymore. Holy cow!
Here, welcome back, y'all, to the Illuminated Page, your fortnightly Call of Cthulhu 7th edition podcast. You are here with us as we continue our journey through Masks of Nyarlathotep, that 40-year-old adventure module that is considered one of the world's best in the history of roleplay gaming. And now, back to our investigators on the ground in Cairo.
Give that spokesperson a raise.
Well, dang. Okay.
Wow.
After that, I don't want to have to stand up and do any of this. Thanks for making me look better.
I was just looking around and doing the Brady Bunch thing myself.
Yeah. I guess nobody's above me, are they? So
No. It's just to the other side of you, Matt.
Wait, is it
Yeah.
not here?
No, it's the other side.
Oh.
Unless you're mirrored weird, which could happen. I don't know.
Oh, I think I am
Who knows?
weird. I don't know.
Raise your left hand,
Hey,
Matt.
Roxy.
Yeah.
Raise my
five.
left hand. Left hand.
High five.
Whoa. We're mirrored.
No, other side, Roxy. Anyway, we should play the game.
You're not mirrored, Matt, by the way. That was actually your left hand, unless you were lying.
This is my left hand?
And this
Yep.
is your right.
Okay, cool. So you guys are at the museum. You are greeted by Dr. Ali Kaffour. He is the leading expert on digs from the 3rd and 4th dynasty. There we go. Cheese and rice.
So you said his name was Ali Kaffour?
Ali is his first name. Kaffour, Kafour.
Oh my god, I spelt one right for
K-A-F-O.
once.
He's a short, thin man. Seems alert and intelligent.
And you said he's an expert on digs from the 3rd and 4th dynasty.
That is correct. Welcome. He meets you in like a conference room. He says, "Welcome, Dr. Hardgrove. How can I help you?"
Yes. We are looking to identify an item that we have come across in some research, and was looking maybe you'd be able to help us out. It's just a fragment, and we want to find out a little more information about where it might be from.
Sure. Let's see what you got. You unwrap it for him.
No, we have. Do we have a photograph?
We have
Yes,
pictures.
we do.
Oh,
Yep.
you okay. He takes the picture. He kind of holds it up so that the light from the window is hitting it. He lifts his glasses, moves them around a little bit. He says, "Well, what did you think? I'd like to get an idea of where you thought it came from. Can you go give me a roll
Sure.
for archaeology?"
Farcheology.
My
For-
archaeology is yeah, that's going to be an exceptional success.
It's an extreme success, David. Can you stop saying exceptional?
Whatever. I'm sorry.
You just have to be exceptional, I see. Whoa.
Sorry.
That's my
Is
game
that you,
system
Shawn?
mixing.
So what you know is that it is definitely from the Red Pyramid, and that puts it as part of the fourth dynasty. Sneferu built the Bent and Red Pyramids. And do you give that information to him? I say it.
Yeah, well, Dr. Kafur, one of the reasons I want to speak to you is I know that you're an expert in the area from where this would have come. I do believe this is fourth dynasty, and the coloration would show clearly that it must have come from the Red Pyramid.
Yeah, I believe. What now? I'm sorry.
Are we? Well, I'm sorry. Are we? Did we use color film? Is there color film in the 20s?
No. It would have been black and white.
Right.
Yeah.
So
I
we
guess
would
it
have
is
just had
from
to
the
have described
description we
it.
got of it.
Okay.
Sure. Yes, if it is that the coloring you're saying, I would agree it has to be from the Red Pyramid. I have seen this before years ago. I believe the capstone for the Red Pyramid had this on it. It was a full symbol though. There's only a partial one here, obviously.
Yes, that's what we were hoping, that maybe you would be able to elucidate the rest of this symbol for us.
I believe it's part of something called the Eye of Light and Darkness. And the speculation when it was first really studied was that it was part of something protective in the area of Dashur. Don't know quite what. We hadn't found any writings on it or exactly what it meant, but it was something that it's something that it was believed to be a protective piece, and putting it at the top of the Red Pyramid created a supposed protective area over the entirety of Dashur.
What was
Indeed.
that name again? I'm sorry, I missed it.
Dashur?
Eye of Light and Darkness.
Eye of Light and Darkness. Yeah.
And so, since you and pardon my question, Professor Kafur. So you're saying that with it being at the top of the Red Pyramid, it was meant to protect all of Dashur?
Dashur, yes.
Dashur,
Yes.
sorry.
Interesting. Have you ever seen perhaps another part of this fragment?
No, I mean I've seen pictures of the whole piece, but I didn't know it was broken. Do you know when this? Where did you come into possession of this knowledge?
This was sent by a colleague of mine. When was the time frame that this would have happened from?
That it would have broken about 5 years ago.
Okay. Would say just a few years ago, probably within 5 years ago, when this would have happened, and this was sent to me, I believe originally found by Warren Besart.
I see. I can't say that I know much more than that. Supposedly there's something in Dashur that supposedly keeps Nefrin Ka from rising from the dead, but I don't. Nefrin Ka is kind of a very. So he was he was at the very end of the third dynasty. He was supposedly a powerful sorcerer, and he brought madness and death to his enemies with the flick of a finger. Of course, I'm not sure any of that actually is true.
This would be the immediate successor of. Is that correct?
Of who?
Sneferu?
No, Sneferu is at the beginning of the fourth dynasty. So he would have he was at the end of the third dynasty. I would say he ended the third dynasty even.
Okay.
Supposedly he came from an ancient city in the deserts of Arabia called Iram, the city of pillars. And that all who knew of that city held it in dread. I've read a little bit on the city. It it does sound quite bad if any of those writings are true. Supposedly, Neferka revived the worship of an old foul god, the Black Pharaoh. And he worked hard to make sure that the people of Egypt made him and the Black Pharaoh interchangeable in their minds. And that, as far as they were concerned, he became the Black Pharaoh. And it's
Who
very
did you say
difficult
became the Black Pharaoh?
Neferka. And because of that, it's hard to discern his actions from actual legend.
So you said that the city of Iram,
Irem, I-R-E-M, the city of Pillars.
The city of Pillars, and you said that was in Syria?
Arabia.
Arabia, I'm sorry. Okay. Held it in dread. Interesting.
Now, the Black Pharaoh did fight for years with Zozer's successors of the Third Dynasty for control of the land. But because of his power, no record of their names remain. And for a time, Neferka ruled the Nile and its people. At last, Sneferu rose and founded the Fourth Dynasty. Supposedly with the aid of the goddess Isis, they thwarted the evil magic and slew Neferka.
Okay.
Can you spell Sneferu for me?
S-N-E-F-E-R-U.
Okay.
Remarkably, however, a pyramid was built to contain the sorcerer's body. I would have to say it might that they also believed it would insulate Egypt from the still potent magics within the corpse. From some of the writing I've read, but this structure collapsed even while it was being built. And that collapsed pyramid is at Medum. The second pyramid is in Dashur, the Bid pyramid, I believe.
Okay, so that's where he's supposedly buried now.
Yeah, it's records imply that his corpse was moved from Medum to the Bid pyramid, but exploration of the site has discovered no trace.
Okay.
And upon his triumph, Sneferu ordered all traces of the Black Pharaoh stricken from the land. Nevertheless, worshippers of the Black Pharaoh remained and schemed for the evil one's return, although in time the worshippers were eventually driven out of Egypt.
Very interesting. This is all very, very interesting.
It is of note that in the 6th dynasty there was a cruel queen named Nitocris, who was thought to be in league with a new cult of the Black Pharaoh. The proof of this is subjective at best. I kind of, from what I've read, I believe that there's potential there. I'm not positive exactly how much of it is true. Sometimes the Black Pharaoh is also called by another name called Nyarlathotep.
Interesting.
So a few other legends of the Black Pharaoh. Neferka was said to possess a huge beast of which the Sphinx at Giza is a small, inaccurate representation. The voice of Neferka is said to have carried throughout the land within a black wind, a wind which destroyed at his whim.
Black wind.
A prophecy implies that the Black Pharaoh will arise fingers and toes after the Great Good One, a reference which many have taken to mean 20 centuries after Jesus, although who knows if that timing is quite correct. Man-like but inhuman worshippers of the Black Pharaoh were said to lurk underground in the desert, occasionally waylaying innocent passers-by. And, of course, the Great Sphinx at Giza is said to have had an important function in hideous rituals held by Nitocris in the 6th dynasty.
So Nitocris was in the 6th dynasty. That was my next question.
Yeah, yes. And I do believe that the Black Pharaoh and Neferka did exist, and that there was a pantheon of gods which we don't see in the writings, which the Black Pharaoh, this mythical creature, was a part of. I would call them elder gods. They're led by a demon sultan, Azathoth. I have seen things in the desert that I can't explain, and I believe that those might also attribute to that. So there may be some actual connections.
So you have writing of a demon sultan Azathoth?
Yes, this is part of that pantheon,
Okay.
which is called elder gods.
And you believe Nyarlathotep or the Black Pharaoh would be that as well? Part of that pantheon?
He would be part of that, yes, of that pantheon. I also suspect that the worship of the Black Pharaoh is growing in other parts of Africa. For example, I have heard of a cult in Britain's Kenya colony called the Bloody Tongue. And they worship a monstrous god, which I believe is another aspect of the Black Pharaoh.
I have come across information about them in my research as well.
Oh, well, they are. I don't think that they're a dead cult for sure.
What other
I just don't think that they are very powerful either.
what other groups have you heard that worship?
Those are the ones in Africa that I'm aware of.
You said something about Black Wind?
That was one of the
yes,
things he controlled.
the voice of Nefrenka is said to be carried throughout the land within a black wind.
Wasn't that something? Yeah.
What was the name of that painting, just out of character, reminding you?
Oh,
Okay.
Oh yeah, I didn't know if you were in character or if you were out of character. I didn't know if that was Bobby.
I do need a sanity check from all of four of you.
All right.
I passed it.
I'm good.
amazing.
I did not pass it. I was over it by 13.
If you failed, you'll lose a D3. If you succeeded, you don't lose anything. As you
yay.
recognize... What now?
Oh yeah.
I said yay. I was expecting to lose
Oh,
one.
okay. No. As you recognize a couple of things. First of all, he just said that he saw creatures out in the desert, guys.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. No one seemed to react, but I think you might have been just taking notes. The other thing is that your suspicions that the Black Pharaoh and the Bloody Tongue have a connection
Yep.
is now the same god, that there's a connection there, and the fact that that god's voice is the Black Wind.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, so a lot of our leads have all tied up.
Yeah, and that's unsettling, to say the least.
Right.
Yeah.
So I was just waiting until you were
Sure.
getting, yeah, we're all having talking issues tonight, apparently.
Yeah.
I'm going to look at Kafur,
Kafor, yeah, it was
Or-
Kafor.
yeah.
Kafur, and be like, just kind of look at him and be like, would it surprise you at all to know that we've had similar experiences with several of the things that you just told us about?
No, I mean, yes, it would. What exactly have been your experiences?
Here-
Well, we've run into the cult of the Bloody Tongue in England.
No, you did not. That is actually a false
No, we
statement.
ran into them in New York.
New York, sorry.
Black Pharaoh. Okay. Oh, really? How did that happen?
Well, I mean, there was a grisly murder, and
They were behind it.
they were, all signs led to a place where they were likely behind it. It's something we don't like to talk about too much. It was the source of great
Pain.
stress, anxiety.
Understandable.
you
Grisly
rela-
murder will leave many people more than a little uncertain.
Shaken.
So,
Are you a religious man?
Did you say am I a religious man?
Yes.
I believe in things.
What? Bobby, you didn't by any chance, several of the things as was already alluded to by Mr. Lockhart. We actually saw a painting that talked about the Black Wind, and you don't happen to have a photograph of that painting, do you, Bobby?
I do.
On you?
Yes.
Have you heard of such a painting?
I have not. I would be interested to see this picture. Don't you guys have the painting itself?
Yes, I do.
But I don't think we're carrying it around with us. But
Yeah.
No.
It's back at the hotel.
I was trying not to mention that. That's why I was like, well, we saw a painting one time.
Yeah. No, I keep. I have a little binder of all my photos.
Okay.
So
Sure.
I'll slide one across, but I keep it face down.
Oh yeah.
Yeah,
Would you say it's a photo album, perhaps?
Yeah, you have a photo album.
No, I
A
have
portfolio, even.
I have a binder.
I
I have a folder.
I have a folder.
I have a folder of pictures.
Okay. He picks it up and takes a look at it, and seems visibly shaken. And he says, "That is a very powerful painting. Where did you find this?"
Well, it was even more unsettling in person when we saw it.
Well, things like this tend to find mad people, and we met a maddened artist who painted this, and yes, it unsettled us as well.
I hold my hand out to take the photo back.
He hands it to you, photo up.
Do you look at it?
Do you
don't
quickly turn it face down?
I put it back in the binder, and I'm just like,
This is strange. It's interesting that you came asking about Nefer and Ka. Are you familiar with the Clive expedition?
Yes, we are.
Yeah, Dalphus is a colleague of Professor Clive.
Oh, do you also get? Are you also working through the Pinhew Foundation, Doctor Hardgrove?
No, we're not. Financed through other means on a separate expedition. Our paths just seem to coincide.
Oh, okay. So the mummy that was recently stolen from the Clive expedition, I believe undoubtedly is the mummy of Nitocris, and that she was this beautiful and evil ruler in the 6th dynasty. She supposedly was buried alive, and until they uncovered the secret room in the smallest of the Great Pyramids, there was no trace of her. However, why she was stolen is I don't know, but I think that the theft relates to the prophesied return of the Black Pharaoh. Clearly, there is.
Does he seem like he
Clearly there
believes
is-
this stuff?
Oh yeah, like you're looking at a man that doesn't seem insane, but understands that there are weird, unexplainable things out there.
So let me ask. Oh, go ahead.
I would also say that it's pretty clear to me that the Black Pharaoh has a cult here, and that they are preparing for what they believe is this supposed resurrection.
Have you met anyone else that seems to believe in this cult of the Black Pharaoh, as you call it?
I know that the authorities deal with those things rather forcefully, and I know that they have had some concerns of late. I have been, I've consulted a couple of times on strange happenstance that are very occult related.
Sure.
So Aaron's going to have been like kind of in thought, and he's going to look at him, and he's going to ask, so in your opinion, if they're planning for the resurrection of some dark queen, I'm guessing that capstone being broken is a bad thing.
If those are all true, so I believe in things, but I don't know how much of the legends are true. If if it is all true, then then the capstone being broken means that the protection, protection for Dashur is gone.
That's I'm sure that is what where all of our minds had gone.
Further, if the protection there is gone, whatever is there, there has to be a connection there that I'm unaware of.
I got a question for you, Mr. Kafour. Knowing your knowledge of digs and this prophecy, as you call it, are you aware of any? And you mentioned them earlier, and we know that there were other expeditions that the Pinhue Foundation did fund in this region, especially around Ashur. How many expeditions has the Pinhue Foundation funded in that region in maybe the last, I don't know, 5 to 10 years?
I have met Sir Aubrey Pinhue, or I had met him a couple of times. And I've always respected...
May he rest in peace.
Yes, I've always respected his director, Edward Gavigan. However, since Sir Aubrey passed, there have been 10 Foundation expeditions to Egypt, and among them, there have been at least 20 deaths, numerous disappearances, several suicides, and a certified case of madness. Most of them have followed this same pattern of paranoid secrecy and erratic excavation and bizarre incident that was set up by the Carlisle expedition. Are you familiar with the Carlisle expedition?
We are.
Quite.
Unfortunately, yes. Are you familiar with Martin Winfield?
The name sounds familiar. He is a man on the Clive expedition, isn't he?
He is. I didn't know if he'd made any appearances on previous Pinhue Foundation funded expeditions.
I believe that this is his first, and he is quite young.
He is, but he carries a certain air about him that says that he may have seen, terrible things happen and is trying to prevent them again.
Yeah, he's also a little bit full of himself.
I got a curious question for you, sir.
Sure.
You are definitely like the first person that we've talked to that seems to have an inkling of some of this stuff. Like you have a big picture here. How was Nefren Ka defeated? Do you know? I mean, you alluded to like ISIS or something.
A lot of the information I have comes from a book by a man named Al-Lazif. What I understand is that Snefero was assisted by the goddess Isis to thwart the evil magic, but it is not in detail on what happened. Although most magic is not detailed, and the book from Al-Azif is vague at best at times, but also at other times is quite detailed in ways that I would not expect.
Do you have that book?
It is here in our collection. Would you be interested in seeing it?
Yes.
Absolutely. No, yes.
Do you have a Google Reader version that we could just take with us?
Hold on, I'm looking for the book itself in the book. Why are we not listing them? Doo-da. Learning spells and stuff. Okay. Why aren't we listing the books? Create a cult. That's a headline you want to see.
Yay.
How to create a cult.
First, make sure you put in a large supply of Kool-Aid.
Then run for political office.
They'll do whatever you say then.
Just remember, kids, conformity leads to cults.
That's not true. Sometimes it leads to you paying a lot of money to people that won't let you have other friends and get to tell you if you can marry someone or not, and tell you that if you give them more money, you'll ascend through higher levels of consciousness.
You know,
sometimes they're just...
That sounds like when I got my master's degree.
Sometimes they're just Baptists. I mean, you just gotta know them when you see them.
So the book is called Al-Azif. It is written in Arabic, the copy we have. I believe we have nailed down its creation date as 730 AD, so a little over 1,200 years ago, or right around 1,200 years ago.
What was the name of it again?
Al-Azif.
Al-Azif is the name of the book. It's written by Abdul Hazrad. Where's the version I'm looking for?
Roxanne is going, don't read that book. But Jewell Rumtree's like, Abdul Al-Hazred, I've never heard of such
I'm sorry.
a-
This is the copy. This is a copy from the 1200s of that book.
Oh, okay.
It
Well,
is.
there's probably nothing bad in it. It was talking about the defeat of evil.
There we go. It's in poor condition. It's bound in cheap, crumbling pasteboard that's common now. The words are at parts in bad condition as well. The text itself, and there are several torn and missing pages altogether. Other pages are just indecipherable, badly stained with what might be blood. However, it did come into our possession in 1811. And was donated from there. Actually, Professor and Roxy, both of you, can you roll me either library use or intelligence?
Sure. So I got
Regular. That was regular.
yeah. Both mine are regular. I could push. It's close.
No, that's fine.
Yeah,
That's fine.
same
Okay.
here.
Fantastic. So, you both know that Kitab al-Azif was written in 730 in Damascus by the Arab Abdul al-Hazrad. He was a student of magic as well as an astronomer, poet, philosopher, and scientist. He was born around 700 in Yemen. Before composing his great work, he spent years visiting the ruins of Babylon, the pits of Memphis, and the great southern desert of Arabia. The book has multiple names, including Kitab al-Azif, and the Necronomicon.
Oh.
There were supposedly Al-Hazrad died in Damascus in 738, 2 years after his writing, according to his 12th century biographer Ibn Khalakhan. And he was devoured in broad daylight by an invisible demon. Manuscripts of his book circulated secretly among philosophers and scientists of the age. However, it was not until 950 that the work was translated into Greek from Arabic. And then was renamed the Necronomicon. So the Greek name is the one that's most widely known. There is a copy at Miskatonic University that Dr. Henry Armitage keeps incredibly secret, like safe. He doesn't let anyone near it. He doesn't let anyone read it. And he went so far as to make sure that its false title, Kanun Islam, is still there. Dr. Hardgrove.
Is it safe?
Well, you have never pursued it because it didn't hold any interest to you, because it's just an old book that supposedly has a lot of magic secrets in it. That didn't matter to you at the time. You were more into concrete information. It's not. That's not what that is.
So the book of Al-Zahif is the Necronomicon?
Necronomicon.
Necronomicon, or is it just references?
No, it is the
No.
book.
They're one and the same.
The
They are- well,
Necronomicon is the
there are
Greek translation.
There are versions of the same, because there are known to be maybe a dozen copies throughout the world, and all of them are a little different because of language or because things are missing.
Okay.
I'm sorry, there are 5 copies known to exist in the world.
And the original was written in 730 in Arabic.
Supposedly, yes.
Supposedly. All right.
The first printing press copy, I'm sorry, 950 it was translated into Greek. In 1228 it was translated into Latin. In 1454, the first practical printing press using movable type produced a German version. Another Greek translation was made in 1510. An English translation was made in 1586. And then there was another printing of the Latin version in Spain in the 1700s or 1600s. But those have all disappeared or been destroyed over time.
And the copy they have is in Arabic.
Hold on, I'm reading.
Or do they have the Latin one? Because I thought you said it was from the 1200s.
No, they're still. Sorry.
That's all right.
So the Necro is the one that's back in Boston.
Boston-ish, yeah. The one in Britain is in German. Yes, this one is in Arabic.
Okay, so the German
It's one, and it's a strange copy that was not printed, but it's believed to be from the 1200s.
And it's not printing; it's handwritten, right?
It is. Yes, that's correct. It's handwritten.
There were no printing presses.
Yeah, I'm not reading it.
All right.
would.
Very interesting. Very interesting that you have this.
Yes, I would be happy to let you see it. If there's anything else that I can help you with.
How does this relate to ISIS?
Well, this is just where all the stuff came. This is where all the
This
stories that he
is
told
what-
us.
Yes, this is what. This was what was written about the fall of Black Pharaoh. So the story that I told you about ISIS helping stop the Black Pharaoh comes directly from this book.
Oh, okay, thank you. That's what I was curious about. Is ISIS considered part of that old god or elder god?
No.
No.
They put
ISIS
an
is
end to
firmly
that.
within the Egyptian pantheon.
ISIS helped, as he said, Mr. Blackwood. The way I understood it is believed that with the help of ISIS, Nefaru put an end to the Nephron, to all the stuff that Nephron Ka was doing and the evil magics and stuff like that. And so ISIS helped him cleanse the land and strike it all from the record. So I assume, in a religious sense, through her power, she cleansed and purified Egypt from this elder pantheon.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to. I lost my place. So, Professor Kafur, I mean, I have to admit, Dr. Kafur,
Yeah.
you've been very forthcoming with information. I mean, we have met people since we've been in Egypt that were terrified to talk to us for fear of angering the Brotherhood. I mean, aren't you worried about the same thing? I mean, you've...
I enjoy discussing these sorts of things. When I did meet with Sir Aubrey, we traded stories about the Black Pharaoh and things we had learned. I enjoy the occult side of the Egyptian history,
right?
And
but aren't
the
you
potentials for that?
Aren't you worried about angering the cult?
I don't think that this cult is nearly as dangerous as people make it out to be.
I find it interesting. So you met Sir Aubrey, and you exchanged stories about the Black Pharaoh. What kind of stories did he have to tell? Anything that you hadn't heard before?
I know that the Sir Aubrey had studied the Black Pharaoh for years, and we had traded information back and forth. He read through the copy of Al-Azif that I have here, although it's a very thick book, so I don't know that he read as much as he says he did. When he last came to Egypt, he didn't stop here. He did visit the expedition dig near Dashur, and then didn't seem to want to meet with me.
And when was that?
There was a change in him during the Carlisle expedition.
Okay.
He did seem younger and a little more withdrawn. aloof, and strangely, I would say malicious.
You know, we've
Dr.
actually.
Kafour, excuse me, Miss Rumtree. Go ahead.
I was just going to say, strangely enough, we another individual that we spoke to seemed to feel similarly about Mr. Penhue's demeanor.
Well, good. I'm glad it wasn't just something I
It wasn't.
misread.
Don't take it personally. It sounds like he was doing that to everybody.
I see. You were going to say, Dr. Hardgrove.
Yes, Dr. Kafour, what would you say if I told you that this cult had infiltrated the Penhue Foundation, has spread rampantly, and is either global or in conglomeration of global cults aligned to the same effort of attempting to bring back the Black Pharaoh?
I would hope that such a accusation against the Penhue Foundation would come with some sort of definitive proof. That
Well,
perhaps
not to say that is the Penhue Foundation in itself, but its members are within the foundation at least.
I would say that suggesting that these cults are working together is hard to believe, although, as I've said, I've seen them grow in power in other places like Kenya, but I don't know that it's a global conspiracy, perhaps maybe one across Africa, but I know of no other place besides here, and now that you've mentioned perhaps London and New York, but that's not the entire globe.
Well, for all our sakes, I hope that you are correct. Our information might lead us to believe otherwise.
Yeah. I will say,
Can I...
do you speak French?
Can I... We.
Oh, good. I pull out the article that I clipped from the newspaper while we were in Paris that talked about the cult being exposed.
The proof. I forgot we had that.
Yes.
He takes a look at it and reads through it. This is perhaps I spoke too hastily. It is unfortunate that such a... I wonder how the Clive expedition is getting its funds.
That is something we've been wondering as well.
We can tell you with absolute certainty that the cult is operating within America, within the United Kingdom, within France, here, in other parts of Africa as well. And we have evidence that suggests they may also be in Australia.
Okay, just to clarify, you said France, but I don't remember any proof that they're in France.
It wasn't in France.
There was no proof.
It wasn't. We didn't have any
the
information.
article was French.
Yeah, the
Oh yeah,
article's
okay,
French.
okay. I just wanted to make sure that
No,
you're gonna. Okay.
The article, the French article was about
England.
London.
Yeah.
Okay. You say Australia. What do you mean?
Well, we have a line of research that is pointing to some sort of connection to Australia that we haven't looked into yet. But the evidence suggests that it is connected.
I would be interested to hear more about that when you have time.
And what could you tell me about this? And I pull out my bag. I pull out one of those little, was it like a scepter or crooked?
Yeah.
Oh, the
looking at my notes to try to find it, but have one of those things that we got.
Are you handing him both the pair or just one of them?
I would hand him just one of them.
Let me look at this. Okay. It looks to be of recent construction, though the scribing on it is of an older style, something from I'd say ancient Egypt, maybe even the 3rd or 4th dynasty.
Can we make a psychology roll, I guess, to see whether feel like I could trust him?
Sure, go for it.
And I look at Ms. Rumtree and I kind of give a squint. I'm like trying to get with her to think what do you think? Do we think we can trust this guy?
Oh, okay, so can I make that roll as well?
Yeah, go for it. He says, is this the only one you have?
I rolled a 9.
It seems to indicate that this would be a part of a pair.
I didn't make it.
In fact, yes. It is a part of a pair.
Do you hand him the other, or do you have the other one?
Yeah, I'd hand him the other part of it at that point.
If this does what it says it's supposed to, he crosses them.
I reach behind my back and get ready.
Yeah, no, that's fine. He doesn't, and he doesn't seem to notice. He crosses them and says, "Release," and nothing seems to happen, except that he almost vibrates for a second, and then pulls them apart, looks at them very confounded. These would be of great interest to the museum if you wished to sell them.
Does it look like does he look like he has been changed in some fundamental way?
No. You have gotten an impression that you feel like you can trust him, but you also get the impression that
he's reckless.
He is not buying them for the museum. He is probably buying them for himself.
Yeah, we're not selling. I mean, I don't. She doesn't say that, but that's my opinion. To the table, we're not selling.
Well, Dr. Kafour, I haven't completed my research on them. Though, when that is completed, we may come to some sort of an arrangement. Of course, any items that I have found within my research are not solely mine. You know, we do have beholden to certain financiers and college. So,
absolutely, and I'm sure that the university and I could work out an agreement if that's what needed to happen. I do think that they would do well here in the museum and be of a good deal of interest to parties that frequent our place. So, I would also say that do you believe in magic, Dr. Hardgrove?
If you would have asked me that a month ago, I would have chuckled.
I see.
But now I would have to say that I do, as I think the rest of us would agree.
Don't know that it's magic, but I agree that there has been some stuff that we can't explain other than it is magic.
Are you familiar with any rituals or magical acts that would perhaps drain your psyche?
Yes.
That when performing, there's a certain amount of exertion that goes into them. It's not quite that you're mentally tired, but that there's only so much that you could do with it.
Ah, I see.
Have you experienced any of that?
I think it's fair to say that we have experienced things akin to that.
These rods will allow for more.
Ah.
So like a focus.
Not so much a focus as
it protects you.
Perhaps a battery.
It's just got extra power.
So out of the moment question, those are the rods that we got from Al Sahid's apartment, correct?
Yep.
Yes.
Yes.
Cool.
He hands them back to you. As a practitioner of particular ancient rituals, I would be interested in procuring those myself.
We appreciate your honesty. We appreciate your honesty, Dr. Kafour. Again, we will definitely bear that in mind. I will say, you gave us a bit of a shock. What?
What kind of shock?
Oh, you gave us a bit of a shock, seeming to try to use them on us.
I know. I would never do that. That's not be used that way, but I wouldn't do that. That would be far too dangerous. And the rituals I know are utilitarian more than dangerous. I don't think I've ever they're more for sealing and protection than they are for inflicting harm. I would never intend to inflict harm on the four of you. I apologize.
No, that's all right. As we said, we've had run-ins with certain other more malicious beings and individuals in our time investigating this. And so as soon as someone looks as though, I mean, obviously you said it's more or less just a battery, not necessarily a means of harm. It sounds like it's something that you can use to draw upon when needed. But, not knowing that at the outset, it was a bit of a shock. So our apologies.
I know. I apologize. I didn't mean to raise concern. So,
but we would be willing to.
What exactly are you doing in Egypt?
We are trying to basically put together some things that are going on that you've pretty much have described we expected, but have filled in a lot of blanks.
Okay, we are investigating the Carlisle expedition and what happened to them, and why certain individuals of the Carlisle expedition may or may not have been seen in recent years.
I do believe that Sir Aubrey uncovered a secret, and that's what led to his slaughter in Kenya somehow. I'm not sure quite what, but if you wanted my honest opinion, Dashur is the place to look. I just don't know where.
And I'm going to be forthright with you, Dr. Kafour. We actually, out of character, Jewel's going to have a conniption.
No, I may not, because if you're about to tell him that Pinhew might be alive, I was going to tell him that too.
Oh, okay, good. We actually have evidence. In fact, when we were in London, we found a letter that was written not too long ago and fairly recent from Aubrey Penhew.
No, it was going to be written to Aubrey.
Oh, it was written to Aubrey from Edward Gavigan. So we actually have a feeling that he's still alive, that he may have faked his own death.
There were rumors at the time, but so many things happen outside of cities and towns, it's hard to be sure exactly. But there were rumors at the time that certain members of the expedition were not killed in Kenya.
Well,
I was just going to say, the whole reason I'm telling you is because if he shows up in the museum, you may want to make yourself scarce, because I don't think he will be here to trade stories with you.
If you thought he was malicious before, I would be hesitant to interact with him now, should he prove to be alive.
I see.
Dr. Kafour, all cards on the table.
Sure.
Edward Gavigan was not just a member, but a practitioner and possibly priest of this cult, and attacked us using these sort of dark magics. He is no longer alive.
I see.
I would assume that his man, Mr. Winfield, is also a member of this cult.
That's speculation purely on our part, but everyone
speculation
else.
On good experience.
But speculation leads to preparation.
I say this just so that you have an abundance of caution in any further dealings with him. I don't know whether that Dr. Clive is a member of this cult as well, but he is at least in association with them, at the very least a loose affiliation with them.
And very eager, actually, to get his hands on the capstone that we showed you a picture of. He was most insistent that we meet with him to discuss the possibility of us knowing where that location of that stone is.
If the capstone is truly what legend says it is, it could be part of stopping what's happening. Which means that wherever the other piece is, that would be key to resealing things. But if it's been broken once, I'm not sure how it was broken then, and if it can be broken again.
Well, it must have happened sometime in correlation with the Carlisle expedition.
That's our belief.
I could do some research and see if I could find information on reforging it. But I also do know what the Eye of Light and Darkness looks like. I can find the book that's in. That could be something that could be redrawn, but or reinscribed. But the ritual that would go with it, I'm unfamiliar with at all.
Well, if you could research that while we're continuing looking into what's going on and confirm the possibility of all of this, then that would be a great, immense help to us, because we have no idea on any of the magic involved.
I will start researching that immediately.
And while our humble beginnings into this journey were investigating the death of a colleague and the possibility of survivors of the expedition, I fear that we've been pulled into something much more important.
Yes, it sounds like it.
I have to ask, Dr. Kafour, are you familiar with Jackson Elias?
He's a writer about occult things.
Have you ever met him? Had any dealings with him?
I met him 3 or 4 years ago. He came through, was at a party. He was looking for someone to help finance him. We talked about history of cults in Egypt. He was a delightful man.
By all accounts, from what I've heard, that is his reputation. But
Yeah, he was great at a party.
But it was his death that drew us into this mystery. This
Mr. Elias is dead.
Yeah.
Victim of
He was
the
killed in
Bloody
New
Tongue.
York by the members of the Bloody Tongue.
Oh, I see.
So whatever he was looking for.
Why would they have killed him?
Because he was
found
on
something.
the trail.
The trail of what?
All of this.
Whatever this is how we ended up here talking to you, and all of these threads that we have brought to you, the Black Wind and the Bloody Tongue and the Black Pharaoh, all of that is what Elias ended up leaving behind. This is where we are now, and we plan to go other places looking for information about this. But if it's about resealing something or protecting the world from the rising of Nephron-Ka or Nitocris or whomever, this seems to be what Jackson Elias was interested in studying, and I think he got too close to something and they put a stop to it.
I see.
It was his asking around at the Penhew Foundation and honestly our inquiring about him at the to the Penhew Foundation that sent us fleeing from New York and fleeing from London.
Well,
all that to say, be careful, sir.
Yes.
And before we go, have you ever had any dealings with a Dr. Cowlis or a Dr. Robert Hudson?
No, the name Hudson sounds familiar. He's an Australian.
Cowlis.
No, Cowlis is the Australian. Hudson would have been with the Carlisle
Hudson,
expedition.
Oh,
yeah.
no, I do know Hudson.
Yeah.
Yes, Hudson I know. I haven't met him, but I'm aware of him.
So you've never interacted with him?
No. And
He was
I've
a
heard of
medical
Cowlis.
doctor, I believe.
What now? I'm sorry.
Oh, I was just saying Hudson was merely a medical doctor. I don't know if you'd have had any dealings with him, but Anthony Cowles, he studies Indian death cults.
No, not Indian, South Seas. Polynesian.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I thought it was India for some reason. My bad. South Seas death cults, and we, again, whether or not it's a global conspiracy, we have seen and heard enough and experienced enough that we, I think we'll assume that they could perhaps be another aspect, as you said earlier, another aspect of the Black Pharaoh or this Nyarlathotep.
I would say that sure sounds like somewhere that you would want to look, but also finding the other part of this capstone might be helpful. It was a pretty important piece in this.
Well, you have been absolutely invaluable, and we appreciate your candor. And I hope that, or it is my hope that this is not the last time we are able to speak before we need to leave Cairo.
And honestly, Doctor, if we come across anything pertinent, anything that we may pass on to you that could help, we will make sure that we forward you anything, because we need all the allies and help that we can get if this is as big as we think it is.
I will be happy to assist however I can.
All right.
Cool. I'll be like, shake his hand and be like, we appreciate your time and information.
All right. Yeah, so he shakes your hand, and you guys are kind of done there. I actually think that's a good place for us to stop, because it's almost 9. Matt, in 2 weeks, they went and met with Dr. Kafur. They also did the other thing. What did you guys do?
We went to the dig site.
Oh, you met with Dr. Henry Clive.
And Nieti and Umba. We did everything except for, or we went to all the places except for Dashur and meet him.
And there is going to be, next time we meet, I definitely want to look into the vials that I picked up from Gavigan's office.
Sure. A couple of notes, Matt. They did not do anything with Omar Shakti or the Masks of Nyarlathotep.
We did
at
not.
all.
Not yet.
So just I'm noting that for me. Yeah, we can do that. There was something else I was going to say. I am here located in Indiana. Shawn is in Houston.
Yep.
John and Roxy are in Greater Houston, and I assume that David lives on the bayou because it's Louisiana, so all of it's the bayou. But David lives in Louisiana. Indianapolis is currently on lockdown. Houston is currently on lockdown. Although I think you guys actually have teeth on yours, because we can do whatever we want.
John and Roxy are in lockdown. Where I am at, they're asking us to stay inside, but we are not on a shelter-in-place order where I'm at.
Okay. Are you in Montgomery?
Yeah, I'm in Montgomery.
Oh, okay. But yeah, we are. We got an emergency notice today that we are on shelter-in-place, at least until the end of next week.
We are as well.
Oh, okay. Well, you might notice in the next couple of weeks some different broadcasts. So I know that on the 4th, hypothetically, because it hasn't been confirmed, but there's our time slot has not been confirmed. But on the 4th, we're going to be doing a Star Trek Adventures game. It's going to be for charity, for Doctors Without Borders. I thought that was very pertinent to the time frame. Mm-hmm. Also, it's a very Star Trek thing, so that was great too. So we're going to do Star Trek Adventures. The show is going to be called To the Stars. I'm going to have 6 players, none of which are in this game. That'll be fantastic. We've already made characters. I'm having plans. I have to get another webcam, but it's good plans, and it's going to be good stuff. They're all going to be there. That'll be fun. I've got 2 Andorians on my crew. It's going to be fantastic.
Awesome.
Anyway, one of them's the first officer. One of them's the doctor. It's going to be the worst doctor ever.
It'll be fine.
You have a cough. Go lay down. I don't want to lay down. Are you insulting my honor?
Exactly. So,
and I know that John and Roxy, you guys were talking about doing something for that thing as well, but I don't know that you guys ever finalized anything.
We are still waiting on our confirmation from them.
Yeah, so am I.
But even without the confirmation, I've already got things set up with Third Eye Games to where we're going to do a pre-Kickstarter game of their new system that they're going to be putting out, Ironbound.
Fantastic.
And so, prior to the Kickstarter, we will be the first table outside of Third Eye Games proper that will have the opportunity to see their world.
Sure.
Fantastic. So this game is back on the 9th and the 23rd, and then we were planning on taking the month of May off. We will still do something on those fortnightly events, but it will not be our normal game, and then we'll kick off season 2 in June.
Yep.
what is going on with Growing Shadows?
Growing Shadows is on hiatus
Yeah.
until Shelter in Place ends because all of our people, either don't have good internet or do not have access to a streaming or a broadcasting setup at their home. We actually have people that don't have computer with internet because they do everything on their phones.
On the phones, yeah.
So
I know that nothing has been set in place yet that I'm aware of, but I'm sure that we're doing something next week on Thursday. Even if I just need to get on and
sure, I mean,
do something,
Yeah.
we'll have something.
we'll have something
Yeah,
here
no,
next Thursday.
I plan on doing a narration episode of the training, and
Okay.
I'm working that out. So
Nice.
something will be up. I'm figuring it'll be about a 30-40 minute episode, so be there on time if you want to see it.
And then I also might start streaming a playthrough of Mass Effect. I've never played it before. I'm about 12 or 14 hours in now. So if you want to come and watch me die over and
Dun, dun, dun,
over
dun, dun.
again.
Yeah. Every now and again, that theme song, the song that plays when you die in Mass Effect 1, will come on the Pandora playlist at work, and I'm like, oh, I died so many times outside of Flux to this stupid song.
And
But-
honestly, since this rig seemed to work for streaming, the mic seems to be working
The
pretty
mic is great.
good.
Yeah,
I
really.
am going to definitely get the lighting issue fixed and start streaming the painting that I want to do.
Nice.
The only thing I would say on your end, Shawn, is you're a little on the echoey side.
Okay, that could
and
be the
The
room
gain.
that I'm in. It's,
Yeah, some blankets will kill some of that. So, just even if you just hang something soft from the walls, that could kill a lot of it.
like right in front of me.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Also, being closer to the mic and kicking the gain down on that thing
Okay.
will help too.
Okay.
But that's the downside.
Other
to
than
the
that, though,
Yetis, is they do
it
pick
sounds
up a lot.
great.
Yeah, you're just a little echoey. It's just like
Okay, great.
that's it.
Yeah, I can hear it a little bit in the headphones, and I wasn't sure if that was just me or the room that I'm in.
Yeah, so we've got a lot of stuff going on. We're definitely not going anywhere. We're going to have stuff on the channel. We want to provide some entertainment for you guys as well, because we know everybody's stuck at home, and that kind of stinks. So if we could give you some entertainment, we'd be happy to. And definitely on the 4th and the 5th, we're going to be supporting Doctors Without Borders. I'm not sure how that all works yet. I'm hoping to hear soon how that one we have the slot. Our slot is... Sorry, I know this channel goes off of Central Time. Our slot is 6 p.m. to 10 p.m. Eastern Standard Time.
Okay.
We're running a 4-hour slot.
five
So
to 9.
Yeah, 5 to 9. So even if for whatever reason we don't get accepted into CouchCon, I'm sorry, hashtag CouchCon, because CouchCon is a different thing. Hashtag CouchCon. If we don't get accepted into that, we're still going to be doing it, and I'm still going to be doing my best to make sure that if money is given, it goes directly to Doctors Without Borders,
Awesome.
because they're doing work that's really important, obviously.
Before we head out, I do want to. I was thinking about starting to do this. I didn't talk to you about it, Matt, but I'm going to go ahead and
Sure,
throw
go
it out there. I'm just checking our users that are in the chat room. Even if you guys are just kind of lurking, we do appreciate you being there. And I see Commander Root, Electrical Longboard, Ginger Wonder Woman, Kel Bell, a bunch of numbers. Hi, Kelly. It's Sean's wife.
It's my wife.
Lemon Juices and Rubber Slayer. Thank you for being here. And we did get a
And-
follow
Oh, yeah.
from Smurf Harvey 1 near the beginning of the stream. So thank you for all of that.
And one
Oh,
last
fantastic.
thing. Massive thanks to Alyssa Fadden, who is a map maker extraordinaire. She also has a Twitch channel. But the pictures I've been putting up on the Quiett Gentleman page that show like 1920s Cairo and everything, those are from her. She gave us permission to put them up. So thank you so
Nice.
much for that.
And
Nice.
those have all been fantastic.
Yeah,
they're awesome.
gorgeous. Yeah, so definitely check out our Facebook and our Twitter. Those should be below, right? Roxy?
They are.
So, and then if you missed any episodes, they're all up on YouTube, so you can go back and watch those. We'll do a recap when we come back for season 2. We're going to keep playing this storyline until it's done, or until everybody's murdered and we have a Batola party wife and I
Sure.
can laugh out long.
Sure. And then you'll just make us get new characters and continue to kill us.
Matt,
Yeah.
expect a special message from me in a bit, Matt.
Okay, cool.
Uh-oh.
All right.
Should I be worried?
Yes.
Okay. It's all right. We'll talk to y'all later. Thank
Yeah.
you so much for joining us. Remember, check out
Night,
our
everybody.
auto host, Night Fury. I can't remember all the
8583?
numbers. 8583, I believe, is what it is. And check out them, Dicey Adventures. They stream once a week or so. They're on lockdown too up in Kansas City. So, but big shout out to all our followers and our subs. We appreciate you. Have a wonderful Thursday and stay safe. Wash your hands.
Bye, guys.
Bye, guys.
Bye.
Bye, everybody.